Hello and welcome to Devland. I hope you guys enjoy your stay here, and my name is Novolucaloco, and today we are playing Fortnite. That is no surprise here, and we have actually been playing Fortnite for the past few days. However, today is going to be a bit different, as we are going to be playing a ranked zero build hide and seek, or in other words, I am a camper when playing ranked modes, because I can't actually win in a fight against literally anyone in ranked, so that's why we camp in a bush or something. However, let's see, what was I gonna say? Essentially also in ranked hide and seek, I steal everyone's healing items and shield items. Though we're going to make doing all of that a bit of a challenge today, as I'm going to attempt to play Fortnite ranked zero build hide and seek while I'm discussing my thoughts I had while watching the movie The Avengers. I thought it would be fun to do this because I have to look over at like a script on my phone while I'm trying to explain all of this to you guys, because I have my notes on my phone, but it's like to the side, so I have to like look away from the screen here to even see it, which is honestly a bit rude. Because I can't, you require to pay attention when trying to do anything in ranked mode, because you gotta find hiding places, grab weapons, stuff like that. So, let's do this. Now, of course, before you guys actually start watching this video, I want to point out that there's going to be major spoilers for this movie. So if you don't want any spoilers for the Avengers, please don't watch this video. Now, if you're going to watch this video, I suggest you grab yourself some coffee, tea, hot chocolate, or whatever your drink of choice is, and have yourself a nice, relaxing listen. You can even grab some popcorn if you so choose, or a snack, or like some candy, or some chocolate, or whatever, or snack, some pasta, some food. Queue up a game of Fortnite while you're watching this, and listen to it in the background. Oh, I forgot I have a crown. Dude, I'm cooked. Dude, I'm so cooked if I have a crown. Well, I forgot I was playing Blitz Royale before this. Anyways, have you guys a nice, relaxing listen. And personally, while watching this movie and writing this script, I was drinking some nice, relaxing chamomile tea. Now, also, please comment below what you're drinking or eating, because I am genuinely curious what you all drink or eat while watching these videos. I am genuinely curious about things like that. Now, also, I want to put up a trigger warning for you guys while I'm thinking about it, and that is that there's mentions of unaliving oneself in this video. And YouTube, I'm looking at you here. It has a very fleeting mention that does not have to do much with the overall whole of this video, so please do not steal my monetization if I have any. Please, I beg you, do not steal any of my monetization. Also, let's see. So essentially, viewer discretion is advised and all of that fun stuff. And also, before I forget, I forgot to mention this earlier, but this video has spoilers for other movies, such as Avengers Endgame. And I also reference other movies within the Marvel universe, I think. So if you don't want any Marvel spoilers whatsoever, don't watch this. Don't watch this video. Anyhow, let's start watching the Avengers Endgame after I collect some weapons. I'm going to collect some weapons here before I get started, because I feel like I don't want to, like, lose right away. And I want to collect some shields first. Boop-a-doo. Let's loot this place before I get too distracted. We have to multitask in this video, and I really hate that. Anyways, now I can scroll down. In my script. Okay, so now, it has been a little while since I have watched this movie, and even longer since I have seen any of the bonus stuff in this movie, which is the version I got. I got the movie with, I bought the version of this movie that has a lot of the, bonus features in it on Amazon Prime. Because I had the money to spend. I had like a coupon for it, so that was nice. And I think the last time I watched this movie, I was like an actual teenager. I was genuinely a teenager when I watched this movie. In 2013, I think I watched this movie. But honestly, since it's been such a long time since I've seen this movie, I do not remember the fact that this movie opened up. It opened up with the little line that the Tesseract is on a little world, a human world. And honestly, this sounds like something that This honestly sounds like something Sauron from Lord of the Rings would say. It genuinely sounds like that. Like, which, it's this line that sounds like Sauron from Lord of the Rings is then directly followed up by, and they will wield its power. And do not tell me that they didn't just straight up copy Lord of the Rings here. Like, I feel like with this introduction that they have here, that the Tesseract is just straight up the version of the one true ring that rules them all in the Avengers universe. I'm going to grab this mid-mist. This movie also starts. This is a pure side note here. It also starts out with a shot of Loki's chest, which is a 10 out of 10. I thirst after Loki. I think everyone thirsts after Loki, though. I genuinely think everyone does. I'm going to hide here so I can start the Battle Royale 0 build. Hide and seek. Now, also, guys, I forgot that in the opening of this movie, they also start out by, like, evacuating some research facility. When we meet Agent Hill, when we start meeting, like, Agent Hill, Phil Coulson, Nick Fury in this movie, and, like, apparently they filmed that scene at the NASA Plumbrook Center's space power facility in Sandusky? Yeah, Sandusky, Ohio, which is honestly super cool that they got to do that. And in this scene, to quote Phil Coulson, the Tesseract just turned itself on. And, we all know that this is Loki, guys. We all know that this is Loki. So, Phil Coulson, my dude, run, bitch, run as fast as you can away from this project. Don't get yourself involved in this, Phil, please. Your life force is going to be forcibly removed from your body if you don't run. Run, please, Phil, run. Like, I know you gotta stay at the research facility because that's what agents do. But, you don't have to do anything else after this event. Like, just stay away from any other bits of this mess. Like, just, please. If you do, you won't die. Like, trust me, you won't die if you stay away from this mess. Just, dude, take a leave of absence for a few weeks, please, dude. I beg of you. I beg of you to take like a few weeks. Leave of absence. I'm going to take a sip of my drink now before I continue sharing my thoughts on the Avengers Initiative. Not the Avengers Initiative, the Avengers movie. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but when I'm recording this video, I'm now drinking, instead of chamomile tea, I'm drinking coffee. At the time of recording, I was only drinking chamomile tea at the writing of the script. So, that's fun. Ooh, I found a... Oh, wait, guys, I'm going to set up my script just a little bit better. Okay, let's continue with the movie review. So, this movie obviously starts out awesome. It has an amazing introduction, and the scenes after that truly only get better. For example, we catch the quote from Nick Fury of "Until such time as the world ends." Accident press button. Until, like, in the quote of, "Until such time as the world ends, we will not act as if it intends, we will act as it intends to spin on. And honestly, I don't remember that quote by Nick Fury. Am I in the bush? I am not in the bush. Gosh darn it. I truly don't remember that quote by Nick Fury. And it's a banger of a quote. I'm truly going to put that on my fridge or in my notebook or somewhere I can see it. Because I feel like that quote is going to give me hope that unless the world ends abruptly, we're just going to act like it ain't and pretend that everything is fine. It's essentially the quote version of that everything is fine meme. And also, apparently, according to that guy, that's Thor's girlfriend's, Jane Foster's mentor or father, the Tesseract is emitting low levels of gamma radiation. Now, I also want to do a side note. At least in the comics, in the comics, not comics, comics, Eric Selvig is Jane Foster's father, like foster father. However, upon recent review of the movie Thor, Eric is just a mentor to her, which is sad that they didn't actually make Eric Selvig Jane Foster's foster father, because I feel like that would have been cool if they did. If they genuinely made the two related somehow. Like, that would have been... It would have been cool if he was not only a mentor to her, but also, like, an actual father to her growing up. Like, because in the comics, he adopted both Darcy and Jane. And I feel like that would have been so cool. If Eric Selvig was actually her father in this movie. That would have been so cool. But anyways, that's just a side note, so you guys will still know who I'm talking about if I mention Eric. Who the hell just came to my door? I see people walking away from my door. What the absolute heck was that? Huh? Oh, it's the school kids. Right, I forget the high school students start knocking on people's doors. Right, sorry dudes, we're not home. I hope you put a flyer on my door so that I could see what you guys wanted to sell me. Have fun, kids. It's 3 teenage boys. Have fun with that. Anyways, I got distracted. Okay, essentially, I remembered what we're talking about. I just wanted to let you guys know that if I accidentally call Eric Selvig Jane Foster's father, you'll still know who I'm talking about. Anyways, Eric here mentions that this gamma radiation that the Tesseract is emanating is nothing harmful, which Nick Fury responds to that by saying, that can be harmful, which I think that's a Hulk reference, which is crap. Which I think that's cool that they made a little Hulk reference. And shoot, the storm! The storm! You know, I'm just going to keep it off to the side. I think. Until I can find another place to hide real quick. I've got to go camp in this building over here. Come on, come through the window. Let's see. I'm going to... No, that's a window. That's also a window. I'm gonna squat right here, guys. Until I can figure out a better place to put my phone. Anyways, I just think it's cool that they have a little reference to the Hulk right there in specific. Oh, I earn ranked quests when I'm doing this mode, which is actually the point, to earn ranked quests. Anyways, this scene continues after that. And after that little reference to the Hulk, and Loki shows up here, and dear Lord, I forgot how sexy Loki's smile is when the Tesseract portal opens up. Like, I mean, look at this shit. Look at it, dear Lord. Hello, Loki, my darling. I love you. I love you so much that I'm crying right now. Like, legit, I am crying. I love you so much. Not only that, but people keep shooting at Loki, my darling, during the scene, and I don't like it. Please leave him alone, guys. He just wants to rule the world. It's no big deal, right? We can let this guy take over the world. Right, guys? Ah, shoot, storm. Crap. Got distracted. Shoot. I got distracted by Loki. We can let Loki rule the world here, right, guys? It's no big deal. Right, guys? That's not how this works. Well, that's just sad. That's not how this works. Now, moving on from Loki, or at least moving on from me thirsting after Loki, I truly didn't remember this, but apparently the first thing Loki says in this entire movie is, "You have heart," before turning Hawkeye into one of his minions. Mother of gods. I'm just trying to mind my own business. Don't mind me. I didn't know you were here. I'm just gonna run. The boss circle. Crap. I'm doomed. I died. That's not surprising at all. It's not surprising at all. Continue. I got found. I lost the game. Oh well. Anyways, moving on. I truly didn't remember that he says that you have heart. I truly didn't remember that. I didn't remember that was his opening line. But it's a cool and very ominous way to introduce himself into the movie as a villain. And like a few minutes later, after Hawkeye turns into one of Loki's minions, Hawkeye just straight up shoots Nick Fury, and I truly forgot that he did that. Like, genuinely, it caught me off guard. Like, all I saw was Hawkeye holding a gun, and then poof, Nick Fury goes down. And to be honest, that move kind of made me laugh. And I feel bad for that, but it did surprise me so much that I did laugh. Like, genuinely, I did laugh. Also, side note, I also did forget that Thor's girlfriend's mentor just straight up starts working for Loki as well, because he got mind controlled as well, like Hawkeye did. And I genuinely wonder if Loki knew that when turning him and putting him into mind control. Like, and that made me curious. Does Thor ever forgive Loki for doing that? Like, does Thor even know Loki did that? I have several questions about this. Maybe they'll be answered later, but I really don't know. But I feel like this was a very calculated move on Loki's part to mind control Eric Selvig here. But that's just my opinion. Now, from this point, from this scene, we start meeting several of the Avengers, since Nick Fury is assembling them from different places of the world. Now, I did great the last time I landed over here. So we're going to land over here again. Anyways, for Natasha, when we meet her in this movie, I forgot that when we do meet her, her opening lines aren't even in English. Instead, it's in Russian, which is very fitting for her, for her nature. Specifically, not only as a Russian, but as a Russian spy. And I had a friend who used to be able to understand this scene without any subtitles on, which I think is just cool. She was apparently also using her Russian skills for a job, but when Coulson calls her, though, one of the people calls her through one of the people she's interrogating's phones. This produces the whole line where Natasha pulls the "let me put you on hold" to Coulson when she's on the phone with him in this scene. And then she proceeds to kick several grown men's asses, which I think is super cool that she does that. Okay. She proceeds to kick several grown men's asses in this scene, which I think is super cool. I honestly love that she dropped her job here in order to help Phil Coulson in specific. Not Phil Coulson, in order to go help Clint. And after that, after that little scene, where we see Natasha just kicking everyone's asses like a pro. I gotta trade that for this, and I'm going to trade this for this. Cool. After that scene, we get to see Natasha just Natasha going to go recruit Banner, who is working as a doctor in India. Specifically, it looks like in the poorer areas of India, which honestly, I love that for him. And I feel like it's so overlooked that Banner decided to make a life for himself in India to reduce his stress and to make sure he doesn't turn back into the Hulk. I feel like that's such an overlooked portion of his character, which needs to be addressed more, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I wonder what adventures he had there in India. I'm genuinely curious what type of life he had there. Like, what adventures did he go on? How many close calls did that man have when he was in India as well? Like, him almost turning into the Hulk. Like, how many of those close calls did that poor man have? Like, I'm genuinely curious how many close calls he had. Like, I would love to, I would genuinely love to see a mini-series of just Banner living his best life over in India. Like, I would love to see a mini-series on that. And after that scene, it then cuts to a scene where Nick Fury is talking to the council. And dude, in this scene, I love how Nick Fury happens to mention that a war is won by soldiers, and this was a direct response to the line that a war is not won by sentiment. And then directly after Nick Fury says that, I hope they don't see me. I hope they don't see me. You don't see me. Cool. And just after Nick Fury says that, it cuts to Captain America. And I think that is just the best introduction there could have been in this movie to him in specific. And after we meet Captain America, I don't really have much to say on that because it's just a normal scene. You guys know we meet him and he's, punching some bags, blah, 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 all the fun stuff. You guys already know the gist of that because you all love Captain America anyhow. We get to meet Iron Man, or Tony Stark. And now there is a point in this scene when we meet Tony Stark for the first time in this movie, and Tony just spits out the iconic line of, "You have reached the life model decoy of Tony Stark," when he's casually on the phone with Phil Coulson. And dear God, I forgot how funny that line is. It's peak dry, sarcastic humor that is hilarious. He really just wanted his hot date with Pepper, which I don't blame him. Really don't blame him. Have you seen Pepper? Also, and Phil Coulson just keeps interrupting him, which is what birthed that iconic line in the first place, which is peak comedy. Also, it's funny how Pepper hands him the thing Phil Coulson was trying to hand Tony by saying, "Let's trade," because Tony Stark doesn't like being handed things, which I don't blame him. He did go through a lot when he was in prison. He did go through, like, a bunch of shit. Crap. I heard they updated that storm. I really don't want to get trapped in the storm. Because, it's still one tick. They haven't updated the storm quite yet. Cool. Let's get ourselves out of here as fast as possible before I continue reviewing the movie. Okay, we could, okay, anyways, now as we move through this movie, there is a point where the Chitauri leader guy is talking to Loki, in which the Chitauri leader guy says that Thanos will make Loki yearn for something as sweet as pain if he doesn't get the Tesseract. Which, honestly, man, that line hits different knowing how Loki dies at the hands of Thanos. Like, it just hits different. And I truly think it is a bit sad. Like, I genuinely think it's a bit sad that just knowing how Loki dies. And there is that scene. And I'm just wondering if Loki even knew half of what was about to come. Like, his character development after the Avengers was peak. Like, I just feel so bad for Loki in this. Like, it was such a prelude to how he would die, and it just makes the scene so much more tragic than it needed to be. Like, genuinely so much more tragic than it truly had any right to be. Like, man, it was just, like, it hit hard, that scene. It truly hit hard for me. I did, because I love Loki. I did, but anyways, enough about that. Let us continue watching this movie. And also, I forgot to mention before I jumped ahead a little bit in my review of this movie. I forgot to mention that the previous scene where, you know, Pepper and Tony are talking to Phil Coulson, it also birthed the line of, "Why is Phil?" Which honestly is hilarious, because Tony, you can't just ask people why they are named what they are. Like, you can't do that. You can't just ask people why they're named what they're named. Like, I know it's a reference to why Pepper is calling Phil by his first name to begin with, but that's just where my mind went. And that, okay, anyways, moving on. After the whole scene with Loki and the Chitauri, we do come across Phil having a whole Captain America trading card kit, or trading card collection, and I think it is absolutely hilarious how Phil is so proud to have this trading card collection. I genuinely think it's hilarious. Like, he is such a fangirl to Captain America, I swear. And he is so proud of his vintage Captain America trading cards. Like, so proud. And he is very proud that he's managed to collect all the trading cards, and that they're near mint condition. Like, I think it's hilarious that he's so proud of it. So much so, he just awkwardly stands next to Captain America on the helicarrier. He just awkwardly stands next to him and is like telling Captain America himself, like, I have Captain America trading cards, and they're near mint condition. Like, that is honestly just hilarious. Very peak comedy. And I have found a bush. Thank God I have found a bush. I can start living my life in peace. Anyways, it is not long after we see Phil Coulson absolutely fangirling over Captain America, where we see Loki in Germany, where we have that Loki in Germany scene. And it's specifically the one where Loki is wearing a suit. You guys all know that scene. And honestly, it's the greatest blessing that the Avengers movie could have ever given us. I mean, look at this. Look at this shit. I mean, I do love a man in a suit, but to look at him, look at Loki here. He is so handsome in a suit. Like, I could look at Loki in a suit all day. That man could walk down the stairs like he does in this scene any day, and I would just watch. Oh shoot, the boss circle is coming quite close to me. That is intimidating. But anyways, we're just gonna sit here and mind our own business in the bush. I don't care if I get killed by the boss at the moment, because I'm in 8th place in here. And then that suit scene is directly followed by the scene where he shouts kneel. And Loki's already got me in a chokehold with that suit, so I'd gladly kneel for that man, if you know what I mean. He would not have to tell me twice. Just as long as he takes me with him wherever he is going. And also, I love how Germany is also the place of Hitler, where he took over. And like, it is the same place Loki decides to do that whole speech of "you crave subjugation" thingy-majig. Like, I feel like specifically the Avengers Loki, not any other Loki, but specifically the Avengers Loki and Hitler would have gotten along. But only the Avengers Loki. Trust me, only the Avengers Loki would have gotten along with Hitler, and not like the Loki in any other movie or in the TV show. But I do feel like it's kind of ironic how that is the place they chose for Loki to do that speech. I feel like that's on purpose that the director chose to do that. I really do feel like it's on purpose that the director chose to do that. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Which I don't blame him. It is a very good place for him to choose to do that. And then, like, soon after Loki makes that speech, the Avengers do capture him, which is good. And then when they capture Loki, Tony just spits out the line of, "Make a move, Reindeer Games," and oh my god, Jesus, Tony. Really, please stop spitting out banger lines like that. Like, stop making me laugh. I'm writing this script at 1:47 in the morning. I'm going to wake everybody up. Like, I was generally going to wake everybody up by laughing too much at this movie. However, I'm going to have to use that line in Fortnite matches when I'm playing, like, Blitz in specific or something, and I'm in, like, the top 2. And they have, like, proximity chat on or something. Because I feel like that would be low-key iconic and hilarious. And now, not long after they capture Loki, Thor comes into play. Which I knew Thor was going to come into play. I just forgot when. And then Thor yeets Loki off of the shuttle thing that they're transporting Loki on to the little prison thing. To the little prison box thing. And that is crap. What do I do? I want shields. I already have 50 shields. Sorry, cat. I'm sorry I scared you. We're just gonna go the other way. We're gonna pretend the shooting over there doesn't exist. Anyways. And, moving on from that. And the conversation, specifically between Thor and Loki, is when I first fell in love with Loki, in specific as a character. It is genuinely where I fell in love with him as a character, because specifically from the line where Loki says, oh, I should have grabbed that. Oh, crap. I should have grabbed that other one, and then I could have had 100 shots. Crap, I'm not going back now. Trust me. And that is the boss circle over there, so I'm gonna go the other direction. Let's see. What was I saying? But there is specifically a line in there in that conversation was, I remember a chateau. Oh, I'm gonna grab this. Might as well. I'm gonna grab this. Might as well. Mother of God. Nope, not worth it. Not worth it. Not worth it. That is the boss. Not worth it at all. Not worth engaging that. I'm gonna hide right here. Boop. I no longer have any shields, but that is fine. We're gonna hide behind this rock because the people are over there. I shall be fine. But anyways, I remember a line specifically where Loki says, "I remember a shadow living in the shade of your greatness. I remember you tossing me into abyss." And it's a line I've always resonated with, and this is when I truly saw myself in Loki. It is genuinely when I saw myself in Loki. And I think it's because we've both had shared difficult pasts. And I know for myself, I was often overlooked as a child. Like, often overlooked. And it's through that one line that Loki showed me he had a difficult past too, and I died second place, which is fine. I have no intention to win anyhow. Okay, fetching results. I am now... Oh, Platinum 1. Cool. Play again. And it was through that one line Loki showed me that he was often overlooked as a kid too. And I think that is why I found that line truly hitting home. And I think that's when Loki really made me fall in love with him as a character. Because I was like, okay, there's a guy in Thor the movie, but it really took me until the Avengers to fully appreciate him as a character, and it is when I fell in love with him as a character was in the Avengers because of that one line and how much I actually resonated with it. Now, there is also a point too in that conversation where Thor asks Loki to come home. And Loki just says, "I don't have it." Like, I know he's talking about the Tesseract in that scene, but I think Loki is also referencing him not truly having a home. Like, Odin truly didn't make our Asgard feel like a home for Loki. So I don't think he had a place where he truly belonged as a kid. And if you take that from that line in specific, like if you take that line from that light, then damn, I have never related to a line so much. Because no place I have ever stayed at has truly felt like home for me. Like, the only place I have ever felt like I had a home was at my ex-boyfriend's apartment in Seattle. Like, that was the only place I ever felt like I truly had a home. And now I don't have that, and I am back to where Loki is in the Avengers and not genuinely having a place that feels like home. And I know how much that fucking sucks to feel like you don't have a home. So I do genuinely relate to Loki immensely in that scene in specific. Now, but never mind about that. We will continue watching the movie. And dear God, after that conversation with Thor and Loki, it was such an intense scene. But dear God, Tony Stark comes in with some comedic relief. And that whole Shakespeare in the Park comment by Tony Stark, when Thor tells him he does not know what he's dealing with, is truly golden. That and doth mother know you weareth her drapes? I feel like that's going to become a new vocal stem for me in specific whenever I see a cape now, which is not often. I mainly see capes in Fortnite here. But anytime I see a cape in Fortnite now on another player, I'm going to try to remember to use this line because it is hilarious and peak comedy. It truly is peak comedy. So I'm going to try to remember to do that whenever I possibly can. Ooh. Cool. I've never been able to actually reach the chests up here before, so this is cool. Ooh, hello, Twister. Hello, baby. But I'm going to try to remember to use that line whenever I see a cape on another player in Fortnite in specific, because that's just a banger of a line. But anyways, blah, 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 blah. Tony, Captain America, and Thor fight it out for a good little bit before finally agreeing that they both want to capture Loki, which gives us the gem of Loki walking by with guards. I mean, Jesus, just appreciate Loki just walking by with guards for a second here. Just appreciate how sexy he looks in the scene. Like, genuinely appreciate how sexy he looks here. Wait. I'm gonna dance real quick to that, because that was a banger of a song. I mean, appreciate Loki's sexy cockiness here for a second in this scene. Like, just appreciate it. Give a full second to appreciate it. Trust me, pause the video and appreciate his sexy cockiness. Anyways, later, we get to see Loki in the Avengers prison. And granted his conversation with Natasha is great in this movie. However, we're overlooking Loki's conversation with Nick Fury in specific, because Loki is taunting the absolute crap out of Nick Fury, which this conversation just makes Fury respond with, well, just let me know if True Power wants a magazine. And that's just a banger of a line. Truly, that is a banger of a line. And it just really shows that Nick Fury here takes no shit from Loki. And honestly, I respect that. I respect that Nick Fury does not take any shit from Loki. I truly do. And you guys know how I mentioned earlier if Thor knew Loki turned Eric, Jane Foster's mentor, into some sort of hypnotized goon? Well, it turns out he did know that, and I still can't tell if Thor is angry about that or not. He might honestly be a little angry on it, which I don't blame him. I would be a little angry about it too. I genuinely would. And speaking of angry, actually, when Banner was getting dragged into that conversation between Tony and Captain America, when they're trying to, study the Tesseract, and he was just like, I just want to finish my work. And that is felt Banner. That is so felt Banner. I appreciate you for that line. Like, that is me. Like, if I got dragged into a conversation by my coworkers too, I would be so angry. I would be so angry because I do just want to finish my work if I'm working. Like, I genuinely do just want to finish my work and mind my own business. I am kind of a workaholic though too, so that is a thing. That might be a thing too. But anyways, I did immensely relate to Banner in this conversation in specific. So, felt for that Banner. But anyways, moving on. Blah, blah, blah. Now, I did mention earlier that Thor did realize Loki was mind-controlling Eric Selvig, specifically to hurt Thor. Which makes sense. That actually means Thor is smarter than I thought. Which I feel kind of bad for Thor in this movie since he does realize that. I do feel kind of bad for Thor. I mean, I used to not like Thor in the Avengers in specific, but now that I've gotten older, I'm like, dude just had it out. Loki just had it out for Thor. Like, I do feel bad for Loki. Or for Thor in this movie. Like, dude had some shit with his brother that he had to figure out. Like, poor guy. His brother's trying to destroy the one planet that he loves, and I do truly feel bad for Thor in that. So it's no wonder that he was so distant in this movie and so quiet. But anyways, side note, I also love Thor's hair in this one. But anyways, enough about Thor. Next up, guys. You know that one scene where they're all arguing and Captain America happens to say something fascinating in this scene? Specifically that... And he says something specifically to Tony Stark. I want to make that clear, because in my notes I didn't have that there. But specifically, Captain America's arguing with Tony Stark, and he says something interesting. Specifically that you're not the one to make the sacrifice play. Which shows how far Tony Stark came by the time Avengers Endgame arrived. Because that's exactly what Tony did in Endgame, was make the sacrifice play. So the character development Marvel had to pull between the Avengers and between Iron Man the movie, had to pull there to make it believable that Tony Stark would make the sacrifice play is something else for sure. Like, that truly was amazing that they were able to pull that off and to make it believable that Tony Stark would die for his team in Avengers Endgame. And I feel like to have that amount of character development and then also keep Tony Stark's cocky attitude in the meantime was something they truly had to make a miracle of screenwriting in and character development, which, I mean, hats off to Marvel for pulling that one off. Like, that truly was a miracle of a character development play. Like, hats off to Marvel on that one. I truly gotta respect Marvel for that. I truly do. Like, I don't respect Disney Plus, but I do respect Marvel on that one. I do respect Marvel Studios for pulling that one off. Now, next up, there is also something I feel is important and is often overlooked in this scene where they're all arguing, where the Avengers are all arguing. And it specifically has to do with Banner. In that this scene, Banner says, "You can't kill me. I know. I've tried." Which, you know, as someone who's survived unaliving oneself multiple times that line resonated with me immensely. Because it just resonated with me so deeply. It's one of the reasons Banner became one of my favorite characters in the whole of the Marvel series, is because of that line, because we both share that same darkness. We both know the pain that there has to be when it comes to unaliving yourself. It's why he's been one of my favorites other than Iron Man, because I've always related to that man because of that line in specific. Like, I've always related to that line of you can't kill me, I know I've tried. It just hit home to me. And I also have always related to that man, in addition to the fact that I've always felt like there's someone else in my head. I mean, I know Banner has the Hulk in his head, but I've also felt like I've always had someone else in my head who's not me, but who is also me. And so it just makes Banner as a character all that much more appealing. Like, because of that very fact. I'm going to sit right here. Actually, no, I don't remember if there is a hidey place down there or not. I don't remember, so I'm just going to hide right here. And then fly off if somebody tries to catch me up here. But anyways, back to watching the movie. Enough about me and Banner in specific. So you guys, okay, so moving on from that. There is a scene after this where specifically they're trying to repair the engines, where Captain America is helping Tony Stark repair the engine after it's gone down. And it's absolutely hilarious when Stark asks Captain America which relays are out. And then this produces Captain America saying, like, it seems the relays seem to run on some... Oh, crap, there's a person there. You don't see me. It produces the line from Captain America where he says, the relays seem to run on some form of electricity, which just shows how much Captain America is from the 40s and how unfamiliar he is with modern technology. I mean, the man was 25 in 1943 and was born in 1918. So it's completely understandable he would be confused about modern technology. I mean, I personally help an older person who's 95 or 96 at this point, and she barely understands how to push buttons on her tablet. So I couldn't imagine trying to explain to her the technology that is in the Avengers. So honestly, the fact that Captain America was even able to follow Stark's instructions here so well means he's doing great with this modern technology, which I personally love that for him. I do truly love that for him. Now, not long after that scene, and to be fair, I totally did forget this happened, but when the Hulk is fighting Thor, they're like, we need to distract this guy, because otherwise he'll tear the helicarrier apart otherwise. So they sent a jet to fire at the Hulk in specific to distract him, only for the Hulk to get angry and launch himself towards the jet. Which, to be fair, I feel kind of sorry for the person having to fly the jet in specific here. But anyways, the Hulk gets angry, launches himself towards the jet, only for the jet to explode and sends the Hulk flying, which was funnier than it ever should have been to see a jet explode, go boom, and then see the Hulk screaming, yelling, whatever, and then falling through the sky to safely land somewhere in that abandoned building that was there. Blah, blah, blah. You guys know what I'm talking about. But anyways, safely land in that abandoned building. It was that was much funnier than it should have been, to be honest. And now, laughing at a flying Hulk was all fun and games until I got hit with the bullet that is Phil Coulson's death not long after that scene of a flying Hulk from a jet. Like, he did not, like, Phil Coulson did not deserve to die like that. On a side note, though, on a side note, Jesus Christ, I did forget that during Phil Coulson's death, like, before he has his life force forcibly removed from his body, he says to Loki in specific, "You lack conviction," and then fires at him with a weapon he wasn't sure what it did. Which, to be fair, it's funnier than it should have been. Like, legit funnier than it should have been. Like, that's what Phil Coulson chose to do with his dying breaths, which is honestly very good of him to do that. So because of that, we're going to take a moment of silence for Phil Coulson, our beloved agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyways, moment of silence is up for Phil Coulson, in specific, the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. that is very coded, and we love that for him. I'm going to land real quick and hide up here. I'm gonna hide up here. Okay, so moving on now. We gotta keep this moving, otherwise I'm gonna get bored and we can't have that. And I like to keep things moving because I genuinely... Otherwise I'll get distracted and never finish this video. And we can't have that either. Now, this is a brief comment here. A very brief comment. But I love how Natasha called getting the mind control out of Clint's head, aka hitting Clint hard in the head, cognitive recalibration, which just made me laugh truly more than it should have. It really did make me laugh more than it should have. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out. I just wanted to mention that briefly. Anyways, I did tell you that was a brief comment, so we go off towards New Horizons in this movie. Now, this is a genuine question, because what the actual heck? I forgot how good Loki looked with the sun hitting him. Shining on him while he's standing on Stark Tower waiting for Stark to have that little conversation where there's that famous line of "We have the Hulk," and there's a bunch of memes about it. But I forgot how sexy he looked in that scene. I truly did forget that. Also, side note, it is truly unnecessary for Tony to get his new suits on the Mark V, I believe, where he falls out of the building to put that thing on. Like, guys, you didn't really need to have Loki throw Tony out of a building in order for that to happen. Like, you could have just had, like, Tony put on that suit while trying to fight Loki. Like, have it come on one piece at a time while he's trying to fight Loki. You could have fully just done that. That would have worked perfectly fine, too. That would have been hilarious as well. though it is a cool scene, I'm not gonna lie, so points for that, I guess. Now, before we move on, I just want to point out here that it's just me and two other bosses. It's just me and two other bosses. I'm going to let them fight it out here, because I do have plenty of health at the moment. So I'm just going to let them fight it out for a second. I'm going to pretend I don't exist. Oh, it's just me and one other boss. I'm just going to wait here. I'm surprised they didn't find me, actually. Oh, that's where that guy is. Hello, dude. I see you. But anyways, after that cool scene, speaking of cool things... Actually, no, I'm gonna... Give me a second here, guys. Give me just a genuine second. Crap. And I died. I'm not surprised I died. Anyways, so speaking of cool things, you know that scene where the Tatari worm spaceship thing comes out from the portal? I mean, that thing is amazing. It truly is amazing. Like, it just came through a blue space portal. Don't tell me that isn't super cool. Like, that is super cool. I genuinely find that super cool. And a bit after this scene, we find Loki then riding a Chitauri spaceship motorcycle. And I don't know why, but Loki riding a flying space motorcycle is super cool and sexy. But I don't know why I might just have a thing for bad boys on a motorcycle. Like, no, Captain America does not count as a sexy person to me on a motorcycle because he's not evil enough for that. He's just an American dad on a motorcycle at that point. But that's just my personal taste. Like, if American dads are your thing, go right ahead. Go right ahead. Find that sexy. I don't care. But if that floats your boat, you guys, have at it, my friend. You can have as much Captain America as you wish. I'm not going to steal him from you. Just have at, guys. Have at. But anyways, moving on. Enough about how sexy Loki is on the flying space motorcycle. Now, for this next one, guys, I truly had to do a double take. Because, guys, you know that scene where Captain America is telling the police officers which buildings they need officers in? Well, there's this one actor by the name of Robert Kohelsi, who plays one of the police officers who plays a character in Blue Bloods, who is a police officer. And he's called Lieutenant Sid Gormley in that show, Blue Bloods. And I have a theory that Blue Bloods and the Avengers run on the same timeline. That is because Lieutenant Sid Gormley used to do patrols, specifically in New York. And in Blue Bloods, the show, I forget where or in which season or which episode, but Lieutenant Sid Gormley said that while he was on patrols, he has seen some wild crap while on patrol. So I feel like with that statement, it'd be really cool if somehow the two universes were connected. Because I think it'd be hilarious if a cop show and a superhero show in specific ran on the same universe and timeline. But in essence, it was very much a moment of, oh, hey, I know that actor. And I truly wasn't expecting an actor that appeared in the cop show I used to watch to show up in this superhero movie I'm currently watching. So that was hilarious. I found that super hilarious. Much more than I had to. Anyways, moving on. So, guys, I didn't know this. I didn't notice this the first time I watched this through as a teenager, and I've seen this scene a multitude of times in YouTube clips, and I didn't notice it then either. But you know that famous scene where you circle around the Avengers as they're preparing to do the final stand against the Chitauri, and they heroically stand there as a team. One of the Chitauri screams their war cry, presumably, and then the Hulk just screams back, which I think is a nice little detail to add, that the Hulk just decides to scream back at the Chitauri in specific. I think that's really cool that they added that there. I just personally think it's a nice little detail that they did that. But that's just my opinion. Now that we have pointed that out, let's see if I can jump off the building without any damage. Okay, cool. Anyways, now that I have pointed that out, we can proceed with this movie review. Now that they're all fighting the Chitauri, and after Captain America gives his orders to the team, Tony calls Hawkeye Legolas, which truly makes me think they have The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings movies as well as the books in their universe, and honestly, I think that's amazing. Like, honestly, that is amazing that they have that. Wait, I remember something. Now I remember, they actually do have the books, at least the books, in the crap. I have to go fight someone. I won. Cool. Since Sarah's so kindly starting this process already, I'm going to stand here for a second. Take this, do the shields. I'm surprised I actually won that fight, because I am in platinum, and there's probably a bunch of people that are better than me in this game. But anyways, I do remember now that in the show The Winter Soldier and the Falcon. Actually, hold on a second. I'm going to concentrate on this for just a second. I'm going to take this. Actually, I'm going to take this instead. Take this. Have these shields. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I have a shotgun and a holster. Okay, moving on. We go. I do remember in the show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that Bucky Barnes did state in that show that the Hobbit does exist, and he read the books when they came out. So maybe the Chitauri really did take a page from both of these books and quote directly to Thanos. One of them, like one of the books or movies. And presumably Thanos wouldn't know what those movies are. Or what the books are, actually. So honestly, that is kind of cool if they did that. Anyways, back to the Avengers fighting the Chitauri. Now, here we find Mother of Gods. Why did I have to fall down that? Christ. I am more distracted than I should be while trying to do this. This is my worst round yet. Anyways, we find Natasha here writing a space motorcycle from the Chitauri that she does not know how to ride or control, fun. Which is a goated line from her in specific. It truly is a goated line. And then a few minutes after that, we have the Hulk and Thor like standing next to each other after they had just been fighting together. And then the Hulk just punches Thor across the room, which I think is hilarious. I genuinely think that is hilarious. Like, that has no right being as funny as it is. But anyways, now the Avengers couldn't. Now the people who directed the Avengers couldn't just have them fighting for the next, I don't know, 30 minutes of the movie. So at this point, the most iconic movie quote there is was birthed. And that is that Nick Fury has the most iconic movie quotes in the early stages of the Marvel movies in Phase 1 in specific. I don't think I have heard a line in any other Marvel movies that has come close to this one, and it's specifically the one where he's talking to the council, and they're all like, the council has made a decision, and then Fury comes back with the line, I recognize the council has made a decision, but given it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it. And don't tell me that's not a goated line. Don't tell me that is not the most goated line you have ever heard. From a man, in specific. Like, dude, you didn't have to clap back with that so well. Like, that's just that is the best line you could have ever said in this movie whatsoever. Like, it truly was a goated line. Like, I love that line. It's one of the best lines I have heard in that movie so far, in the Avengers movie, or in any movies after that. But anyways, after we have that little scene where Nick Fury spits out the most iconic line ever, the fighting continues. So, we go back to the fighting. Yay. We love that. But anyhow, I have one question while they're fighting, and that is that, you know, Loki catches an arrow from Hawkeye. So I'm just wondering why Loki's face, whenever he catches Hawkeye's arrow, is so funny. Like, what is that face? It's like a seriously dude type of face, and honestly, that is such a diva queen moment from Loki in this movie in specific. And not only that, but Loki got Hulk smashed into the ground almost directly after getting hit with Hawkeye's arrow, which will always be a goated scene of him getting Hulk smashed into the ground like that. But I would like to imagine it hurts Loki's pride just a little bit to be hurtled into the ground like that. But honestly, considering he was insulting my second favorite Avenger, being taken down a peg like that was very much needed by Loki. Like, I do love Loki, but he did need a pride check, to be honest. He really did need a pride check in the Avengers movie. And Jesus Christ, guys, I'm running myself out of breath by talking so fast. I'm exhausting myself. I need to breathe for a second. Oh shoot, low power mode. I need to plug you guys in. I'm going to plug you guys in real quick here before I forget. So I'm going to take a moment to do that and catch my breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Anyways, you're on. I know the storm is dangerously on my tail. Didn't even give me anything good in that drop. Crap. I risked my life for that. Anyways, now we are, at this point, we are getting towards the end of the action in this movie. And since it's nearing the end of the action in this movie, it does birth a very, very wholesome scene. And it is an exchange between... It is an exchange between Thor and Captain America, where Thor helps Cap up, and it's just a very sweet and wholesome moment specifically because Thor shows genuine concern for Captain America in this scene, in that he asks if he is ready for another bout out of genuine concern for Captain America in this, and Captain America just responds, "What, are you getting sleepy?" Which I think is, which this little exchange they had there just shows the true blossoming and beginning of, like, a genuine friendship. Like, look at this, guys, they jump a button by fighting the Chitauri. But it does genuinely show, like, the beginning of a friendship, which I think is great that they showed this in the movie. Like, hats off to the director for making that line in specific. Like, hats off. I truly do appreciate you for that. And it's not long after this wholesome moment that Tony Stark goes up into the space portal and almost dies. However, it's also in this scene that Tony has fallen through, and it's during the scene we see some emotion from Hulk in the movie, and it's directly after Tony has fallen through the space portal and time after Natasha closes it. And then Hulk saves him when he's falling through and can't wake up and all of that. And you can actually see the Hulk is genuinely concerned about Tony's well-being, and when they think Tony Stark has died, he gives out, like, a Klingon-esque sad war cry, like, "Oh no, a soldier has fallen, that's so sad." And we see that emotion from Hulk in specific, which I think is really sweet that they put that in the movie, that we get to actually see some emotion from the Hulk. I do think it is genuinely very sweet that they put that in the movie. And it just shows that there is still some of Bruce in there, despite the Hulk being in active control of Bruce's body. And I think that's super sweet, that the Hulk isn't fully in control, and that Bruce is still somewhat in there. I really do think that is sweet. And then, okay. Now, next, after this scene of Tony almost dying, we proceed to go after they capture Loki. We get a scene where they all go their separate ways, and Steve Rogers is riding a motorcycle. And I do think it is super cool that Steve Rogers is riding a motorcycle, because don't tell me that Steve Rogers never wanted to ride a motorcycle in his youth back in the 40s, just before the war started. Like, don't tell me 22-year-old Steve Rogers back in 1940 wanted to ride a motorcycle. Like, don't tell me he didn't want to ride a motorcycle, because he's riding a motorcycle now, so obviously he did. And and don't tell me he wasn't like, hey, it would be cool if I could ride a motorcycle, if only my body wasn't broke. And now the fact that he has a super soldier serum in him and could ride a motorcycle in the future was probably a big win for him at the moment. And I think it's super cool that they put that scene in there in specific. And then, not long after that, the movie ends with a promise from Nick Fury in specific that the Avengers would return, which they do obviously return. And I do think it is good that, I do think it is also super sweet that Nick Fury has so much faith in the Avengers in specific. Wait, toggle weapon. What? Huh? Weapon. Oh. 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 I didn't know you could switch out seeing down the scope and not seeing down the scope. Oh, cool. Cool. That's cool. I didn't know that was a feature. Anyways, moving on. I did actually genuinely enjoy the movie. It was a great movie. Now that it has ended, I genuinely enjoyed this movie quite a lot. It's genuinely one of my favorite comfort movies. Like, it is genuinely one of my favorite comfort movies. So much so that I bought it on Amazon. And I really hope Amazon doesn't take away my rights to this movie, to be honest. I really hope they don't take it away. Because that would suck. But it is genuinely one of my favorite comfort movies there is. That and Crimson Peak, which ironically has Tom Hiddleston in it too. And now we have come to the bit where there is some end credit scenes. And true Marvel tradition, there is a few end credit scenes. Sorry, I think I got that mixed up a little bit in my head. But oh well, we move on. And in those end credit scenes, the Chitauri are rightfully pissed that they didn't win. And we also get a sneak peek at that big purple guy called Thanos. And Thanos just ominously stares at the camera, which makes me think that everything is going to his plan so far and that he kind of let the Avengers win. Which I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of just let the Avengers win. And that everything is going to his plan so far with the humans. Which kind of makes me nervous. It still makes me nervous to this day. To think that everything went to Thanos' plan in this. And then after that end credit scene, this is one of my favorite end credit scenes in the whole of the Marvel universe in specific, because this is the end credit scene where Tony and the Avengers get to eat shawarma, which I think it's hilarious to see Thor eating a french fry. It is genuinely hilarious to see Thor eating a french fry and to see them just all awkwardly sitting there, not knowing how to socialize with each other outside of, like, saving the world, which I think is hilarious. And now I also bought the version of the Avengers where it includes some bonus scenes, some bonus features, which I have never seen these bonus features, so we're going to be reviewing those as well. And honestly, I've always been kind of curious what the aftermath of the Battle of New York was. And there is a Marvel short film that's included in the bonus features where it portrays that exact thing, what life was like after the Battle of New York. And it portrays two people that got a hold of some Chitauri weaponry. And the guy in this short film happens to fix up the weapon to get it working again. And then they start robbing banks with that, which I honestly think is hilarious. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. gets a hold of the fact that people are robbing banks with some Chitauri weaponry. And as a result, that produces some guy from Teen Wolf to show up as, like, the boss man S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who sent another agent to go catch those bank robbers. And speaking of bank robbers, I love the whole iconic vibe of the two bank robbers here in this short film. It really is, they really do have, like, a kind of Bonnie and Clyde vibe. Bonnie and Clyde. they really truly do have like a Bonnie and Clyde vibe. I'm gonna hide behind this rock. They do truly have like a Bonnie and Clyde vibe, which I think that those two just might be the modern day Avengers futuristic version of Bonnie and Clyde, because they are robbing banks just like they did. And it truly is an iconic duo that I think I would watch an entire dedicated movie towards. And I died. I didn't even have a chance to defend myself. Oh, well, I don't care. I got in the top 10. That's all I count. That's all I care about. I would actually watch an entire dedicated heist movie, like a heist Marvel movie of them in specific, and not just like a one-shot that they did. It's like a 10-minute video at the most, which I'm sad about, but it is a hilarious short film, and I absolutely love it so much. I really do wish they made an entire movie out of it, because I would watch the absolute crap out of that movie if I had the chance. And then after that little short film, there's some interviews of the cast members and stuff like that. But that is not as good as the bit that they have in these bonus features, where there's a whole thing of bloopers after the interviews. There's a whole thing of bloopers. And that is where we have the iconic scene of Maria Hill crashing out after Coulson dies. And it is hilarious. I mean, it's a valid crash out, though. It is truly a valid crash out. And then next, we have Captain America trying to put on a parachute, which almost made me die laughing, because it is hilarious that Captain America was having issues putting on a parachute. Like, if anyone should know how to put on a parachute, it is Captain America. But anyways, he was having trouble putting it on, which was hilarious. And that is directly followed by the blooper of Jeremy Renner referencing Star Trek and saying that he feels like he's talking to Captain Kirk, which is great, because that means Jeremy Renner is a fellow Star Trek fan, and I'm a fellow Star Trek fan, so shout out to Jeremy Renner for that one. Like, hit me up, Jeremy Renner, if you're watching this one. Can we discuss Star Trek together? I think that would be fun if we could discuss Star Trek together. But anyways, moving on. In the bloopers, there's also this almost gay kiss between Captain America and Cap, or between Coulson and Cap. And I feel like it was almost a canon event that Coulson was gay for Captain America, which is valid, because Chris Evans is a conventionally attractive man. So honestly, I don't blame him at all. It's valid. It's valid that he was gay for Chris Evans and for Captain America. And now this blooper reel also produced the iconic line of "Dude, you're on your own" quote from Mark Ruffalo, where he's running away from the Jatari spaceship thing. And I always wondered where that meme came from. So it's just good for me to know where that meme came from. Now, next, there is also like an interrogation scene thing, short film thing for Maria Hill that's included in the bonus features. Or it's the deleted scene, I'm not sure. But in which we learn in this scene that Maria Hill considers Nick Fury to be reckless. And during that interview, it cuts to a scene of blood dripping down Thor's hammer, which is just a cool scene. I just wanted to mention that. Real cool scene of blood dripping down Thor's hammer. Like, I wish they had included that in the actual movie. I do wish they had included that in the actual movie. That would have been so fire if they did. But I don't remember seeing that anywhere in the movie at all. Pointed out if it was actually in the movie and I just missed it. But anyhow, then after that, we have an extended scene of Loki and Hawkeye talking, and it doesn't just end after, like, Hawkeye said that the Tesseract showed him his next target, which I just think is cool that they put that scene in there. I just think it's cool. That's it. It also gives us Eric Selvig actually speaking after Hawkeye says that, so that's kind of cool. And anyways, now moving on, there is the bonus features also gives us a deleted scene, I think, or an extended scene, to where we get a Captain America advertisement thing, like a 40s advertisement thing for Captain America. And in this scene, we get to see Captain America's apartment and him looking at Agent Carter's file, which just shows that this is how he got her address and phone number, which is interesting because I always wondered how he got her address, specifically, how he kept up with her, which I think is cool that he kept up with her in this way. And surprisingly, Captain America also has Howard Stark's file, as well as Tony Stark's file. And I'm just wondering why he has both of these files. I'm genuinely curious why he has both of these files. And I don't know why he has both of these files, but I would love if Marvel showed us how Captain America got both of these files. Comment below, actually, if you guys know how he got either one of those files. I'd genuinely be curious to know. Anyways, comment below if you know how he got those files. Just out of curiosity, please. Thank you. Anyways, now we also get to see Plainclothes Steve just wandering around New York, I think. Yeah, it's New York. And apparently, in this deleted scene, we find out that Steve draws, which I think is cool. I didn't know Steve could draw things, so that's cool to know, actually. That is very cool to know that he can draw things. I genuinely think that is cool. I'm going to hide here for a second. Crap, it was good for me to hide here, because there's a person coming. Now, he is at a cafe when he's drawing, and there's like an exchange that shows how much out of time this man is, where the server mentions they have free wireless. And he asks if she means wireless radio, which is hilarious. And after that, we cut to another deleted scene, and oh dear God, there's another guy from Blue Bloods here. And he is one of the council members, and it's Papa Reagan from Blue Bloods. I don't remember what the actor's name is, but I think it's cool that he's here. I do think it's here. I do think it's cool that he's here. I don't remember what his name is, but oh well, whatever. Side note, the bonus features also show the digital pre-production animation of Tony Stark flying, which I think is cool. Additionally, they showed some behind the scenes of Jeremy Renner and Scarlett Johansson fighting the Chitauri. And I just have one simple question, and that is, how did Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner keep a straight face when fighting the Chitauri? I mean, look, guys, the Chitauri were walking around in gray suits with dots on them, which is hilarious. I do genuinely consider it hilarious. So how did they keep a straight face here? I'm genuinely wondering how they kept a straight face. And we also get an extended scene of Banner and that security guard that found him in that abandoned building, which I think is super cool because the security guard acts as like a sounding board for Bruce. And I'm just wondering if that security guard has like seen superheroes before. Because the security guard is really unfazed by the fact that Bruce, in Hulk form, came flying down to Earth. So that's cool. And from that extended scene too, it cuts back to the interrogation of Maria Hill, where she calls out the council's decision to blow up Manhattan. And she even stands up for Fury's decision to assemble the Avengers. And she calls the Avengers the mistake that saved the world, which I think is genuinely interesting. I do think it's genuinely interesting that she calls the Avengers the mistake that saved the world. And crap. I'm not sure why she believed the Avengers are mistakes in specific. I don't know why she believed that, but it kind of reminds me of the superhero band in the movie The Incredibles. And I wonder if there's some, like, familiar sentiments in this world about that, in specific in this universe, to where people think superheroes are too dangerous. Which is understandable that they would think that. I mean, they did kind of destroy a lot of New York, along with Loki. Kind of had a hand in the destruction. But anyways, there is that. I'm still surprised she stood up for Nick Fury, because considering her dislike for Nick Fury as her boss. So there is that. But anyways, moving on. After that, like, interrogation scene, we have a whole music video where it's just a random band and random scenes from the Avengers in specific. But the song is Live to Rise by Soundgarden. But to be fair, this song does kind of go hard. I'm not gonna lie, I actually like the song. It might appear in the... I have a collection of songs that's called My Random Collection of Songs I Like playlist, because that's where I put most of my movie score songs. And so it is genuinely an awesome music video too. So I might actually put the song in that playlist. And in this music video, it features Captain America shooting a gun. Which I don't know why I was so surprised to see Captain America shooting a gun in this scene. I don't know why I was genuinely so surprised to see Captain America shooting a gun. I mean, he was in the military, so I shouldn't be surprised that he was shooting a gun. Like, I really shouldn't be surprised that he was shooting a gun here in this music video, because he was in the military, so it makes sense he would know how to shoot a gun. But it still surprised the heck out of me that he knew how to do that. I don't know why, though. I really genuinely don't know why. And then after that music video, we got more interviews from the cast and crew, which I don't really care about that, you know, blah, 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 more interviews, their thoughts and opinions on the characters and whatnot. But anyways, with those interviews, that concludes the bonus features. And there is about like an hour and 20 minutes of bonus features, which I think is really cool that there was about an hour and 20 minutes of bonus features. I do genuinely think that was cool. Because I genuinely hadn't seen a lot of those bonus features before, so I did enjoy watching that hour and 20 minutes of bonus features. So today that concludes this movie review and its bonus features, and that concludes the video today. So we are passing on through Dublin now. I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya!